Super Meat Boy is widely regarded as being one of the most difficult platformers in recent years. It requires incredibly precise movement and jumping to reach the end of every level. Despite its difficulty, or maybe because of it, this game has sold incredibly well for an indie game. It's backwards of what you might think, because most of the top-selling games coming out are more laid back and are targeted at a less hardcore audience. With many companies nowadays trying to appeal to a casual market, how did Super Meat Boy become so popular and so addicting? That question has a lot of answers, but one of the answers is exit points. In game design, an exit point is a place where someone is likely to stop playing the game, whether that's for the rest of the day or forever. For example, in Dark Souls, an exit point could be when someone dies and loses 30 minutes of progress and a couple 100,000 souls. In World of Warcraft, an exit point might be when you have to renew the yearly subscription of your account. Lots of different kinds of exit points exist, but Super Meat Boy does away with as many of them as it can. Without as many exit points, Super Meat Boy becomes much more fun and captivating than it would have been otherwise. So I'm going to talk about 3 places where exit points usually exist in platformers, but they don't in Super Meat Boy. First of all, dying. In many platformers such as Mario, DuckTales, Sonic, really most of the well-known classic platformers, dying means that you lose a life, go through a death screen, go through a loading screen, and eventually start back far away from where you were. In Super Meat Boy, you respawn in less than a second. It plays a very short death animation to indicate that you died and show you where you died, but then you're right back in the action immediately. Where dying in many games can be annoying and lead people to quit, Super Meat Boy doesn't even give enough time to be annoyed before you can try again. There are no lives, no continues, nothing about your death really slows down the pace of the game at all. Dying is purely a learning experience, not a punishment in Super Meat Boy. And because of how forgiving it is, even people who would normally get annoyed after a few deaths keep on playing. The second way it avoids exit points is through the transition between levels. One of the biggest exit points for games with levels is at the end of a level. In a lot of platformers, people will stop playing for that session once they beat a difficult stage. Once they go back to the overworld, save, and have to walk to the next stage, they decide it's a good place to stop. Super Meat Boy's transition is completely seamless and only requires one button press. It has an overworld, but you don't even have to go back and look at it to go from one level to the next. Super Meat Boy makes it so easy to keep playing that it's hard not to. Even after boss fights, it puts you right on the first level of the next world, one button press away from starting the next stage once again. It might sound like it's trying to addict you, but it still has plenty of easy places to stop playing. It doesn't trick you, it just makes everything feel smoother. The final way that Super Meat Boy gets rid of exit points is with its sense of progress. One of the reasons dying over and over is annoying is because the player doesn't feel like their efforts are meaningful or getting them anywhere. Players will also quit playing a game if they get lost for a long time, can't solve a puzzle, can't figure out what to do next, anything that halts their progress. When you're playing Super Meat Boy, you always feel like you're inching closer to beating the level. When you die, you remember a little bit better how to navigate around a certain obstacle or dodge an incoming buzzsaw, and you know that you can do better next time. It even has a visual indicator of your progress within a level. Your character leaves a red stain behind whenever he touches an obstacle or platform, so you can see every inch of the level you've touched since you started playing. As you get better at each level, you make it a bit farther, which spreads the blood or meat juice or whatever it is further into the level. When you get past an obstacle or reach a platform that you've never touched before, it gives you that sense of progress that everyone loves, even if only a little bit. What else about Super Meat Boy do you think is well designed? Tell me in the comments, and thank you for watching.